Family Crisis Center Internship Presentation by Holland Parkinson. I chose to do my internship at the Family Crisis Center because I had a couple of friends do it, and I also needed something locally because I am a married student and traveling out of state would have been really difficult for our marriage, especially since I would have wanted to be with my husband. So the best option for me that I had found was actually here in Rexburg. The Family Crisis Center is located on Main Street of Rexburg, right next to Melaleuca. I found the internship through word of mouth. If you're wanting to do something locally, I would suggest talking to your teachers. A lot of them will advise you to go out of state. There's some good opportunities in Arizona I know of, and but for something locally, I would suggest Idaho Falls or Rexburg and talking to your teacher. For me, it was talking to a few friends who had already interned there, and they said that they liked the experience, and it was also kind of a shoe-in for me because I could use them as a reference on my resume. I also decided to walk in and talk to them myself and get the details on what I could get from the experience. Face-to-face is much better. It also leaves a really good first impression on the executive director. Her name is Margie. That's who you will want to meet with because if you speak to anybody else, it might not be as good of a first impression for the Family Crisis Center for you to want to be an intern there. Some responsibilities that I had as an intern there were to have the 2-hour orientation with one of the directors. We had ours with Margie, who's the executive director, but I know that our newest intern had one with the presentation director. This is where the new interns will learn the ropes of most of the things at the Family Crisis Center. Most of the tasks are hands-on, so you'll get a tour and a walkthrough of the basics of how the Crisis Center works, but the best application of the orientation is to do things hands-on. I know that you can be explained how to work the phone, but it's not really the same until you actually get on the phone and you use it. Or when a client comes in and you have to greet them or take them back or have them wait. It's best hands-on and also with the food bank as well. Front desk attendance was another responsibility, like I was just explaining, to greet clients and answer phone calls. That's usually a typical day. A new intern will also have the opportunity to work in the thrift store. The thrift store is downstairs, and that is run by Christy. All the proceeds go to the Crisis Center and towards applications of grants and things. The thrift store is very neat down there. It's very organized. We have a lot of donations come in, so if you're not working the register, which is really easy to use, then you'll be working with putting away donations and also helping people that may need to come in and get clothes or that live in the shelter and need some bedding. There's also an opportunity every 2 weeks to go to an MDT meeting. That's where the multiple counties or maybe just one county come together and they discuss the newest issues of crimes or assaults around town. It's a really neat and humbling experience because there's a lot more that goes on in this town than people know. And it's also humbling that you get to sit there and see how our justice system and how all of our different sorts of law enforcements come together to really try and make this a good community. There are also responsibilities, like I explained earlier, of client contacts. There's video training. There's opportunities to serve in the food bank. That's where less fortunate families in the community come in, and we get donations from Brolum's and Albertsons, and we give them a box of food. And there's also call-ins where a situation or a crisis will be called in, and you'll be able to go out with one of the directors to go on scene to the issue. and that's a really neat experience. Some benefits of the site, I learned a lot here. There's a lot that people do for the wellness of a community. The organization was not the only help that we received. The Idaho Food Bank and local grocers helped with donating food to the food bank, and there were also many locals that were constantly donating clothing and household items to the thrift store. And some people also come in and they might have extras of cleaning supplies or extras of hygiene products, and they bring those in too. And everything we get is a major benefit to the Crisis Center because somebody's always looking for something like that. I benefited from the fact that I know with my major there are plenty more options in the workforce than I had thought. I thought with what I had researched and the knowledge that I had, I could only do a little part of my degree. But after going and working through the Crisis Center, there's so much you can do with the law enforcement. There's so much you can do with organizations like the Crisis Center. And you can also get trained as an advocate and be on call and help people over the phone if that's something you'd like to do as well. The internship provided a knowledge of just getting to know more people in different task forces for more opportunities in the career I desire for. Much of what you'll find in this major is word of mouth will get you through a lot of things. The more people you know and the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you'll get. So you really just have to put yourself out there. Would I recommend this internship site? Yes, I would. Something that the potential new intern needs to know is that you will get what you want out of it. If the intern really wants the experience, they need to make themselves ready and available. When I say that, I mean they're really busy when they have to fill out grant applications, or if a client comes in, they're not going to come throughout the shop and look for you and ask if you want to come in for the client contact or the client sit-in. You have to make yourself available, so if somebody walks in the door and they're like, I need to talk to somebody, you go back, ask the director if they're available to help the person, and also ask the director if it's okay if you sit in on the counseling. It's a really neat experience to be able to sit in on something like that. The internship site is a busy one. There are a lot of people that come in for help. There are opportunities to sit in on a client counseling, there's group counseling, food bank volunteer, and presentations that the intern can do. If they really want the experience, then I would advise really putting themselves out there and letting the directors know that they are there for any sort of help or experience they can get. The presentations are really fun. You would do that with Deanna. She does a great job of getting presentations ready for high schools and for different booths around town. It's really fun because you get to teach people what you've learned. So, like I said, you just have to make yourself available and sign up for things. Applying. The best thing I can advise is to get on your feet and go in and talk to Margie Harris. She is the executive director of the Family Crisis Center. Research what knowledge you have of the Family Crisis Center. That will make a great impression on her. Express your desire to want to intern there. I would have also advised doing it on your off track. When I went in and talked to Margie, she had asked me what I had known about the Family Crisis Center. And the fact that I could tell her so much about it that I'd learned and from what my friends had told me really made an impression on her. And then when I told her my desire to, one, I was married and needed to have the internship here in Rexburg, and two, the fact that I was off track and that I really thought that this would be a good fit for me as an intern here. She really worked with me, and she really appreciated that I was taking the time on my off track because that made me more available to do things for the Crisis Center and to put in more hours. Some things I would advise is, once again, going in, talking face to face. Bring an updated resume with great references. Know who your advisor is and speak with them, telling them of your interest to your internship site. So before you even go in, I would express your desire and interest to want to do an internship because there's a lot you have to do behind the scenes when applying for an internship. And make yourself completely professional. This is a job. This is like applying for a job. You don't want to go in and be presented in jeans and a t-shirt. I went in dressed in a skirt and a blouse and made myself professional because this is a job. You want to make an impression on the clients coming in. You want to make an impression on the directors in the organization. And there's also a lot of different law enforcement that comes in. You just want to put off that really good vibe to them first. And that's what I would advise about applying, and a little bit about the Family Crisis Center. That was a really neat experience for me, and I advise all to go and try it out. Thanks!